What's up with the Utah Jazz point guard situation? Does the Utah Jazz franchise have a point guard problem? Let's discuss it and analyze it.
They've lost 16 consecutive away from Delta Center and see their last win. As you see, Sensabaugh just drop a beautiful dime by Collier a moment ago. His fourth assist, a jump past John Stockton for the Jazz rookie all-time assist record.
Pretty good choice.
Jazz Smack, NBA and Utah Jazz basketball.
So that was Isaiah Collier getting the all-time rookie record for the Utah Jazz in assists. And that is an absolutely fantastic accomplishment. I mean, he can take that and use that as one of the springboards into this coming NBA season, because obviously doing that better than anybody who's ever played for the Utah Jazz as a rookie is a phenomenal accomplishment. It's absolutely terrific. So we love to see that. Now, Isaiah Collier, Keyonte George, Walt Clayton Jr. are the three candidates that are currently on the roster to play point guard. Now, going into this analysis, I'm going to say that Keyonte George is not one of those three guys. Even though I just listed him, I'm going to say he's not. And I'm going to push that to the side. The Jazz have already tried that experiment. It didn't go well. We have not seen, Keyonte just doesn't have point guard instincts. He doesn't have the passing capability. He's not a point guard. So if he's playing significant minutes for the Utah Jazz at the point guard position, that's a problem for the Utah Jazz. That's a major problem for the other players on the court with Keyonte. So we don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't think most others want to see that. Keyonte George should not be playing point guard for significant minutes for the Utah Jazz moving forward. So that brings us to the other two guys, Isaiah and Walt. Let's look at some numbers from Isaiah's time, both starting with his time at the USC and then his first summer league in 2024 with the Utah Jazz, and then his rookie year with the Utah Jazz, and then this summer league that just concluded. So let's look at those four sets of numbers and then try and see the pattern and discuss that in terms of his ability to play the point guard position for the Jazz moving forward. So let's take a look at those numbers. Let's start out with the USC numbers. So at USC, Isaiah Collier actually shot really well from the field overall. He had 49% from the field. And he also had 34% from three and 67% from the free throw line. Now, of the 314 field goal attempts he attempted at USC, only 80 were from the three-point line. So that means that roughly 25% of his overall field goal attempts were threes. So that means that the reason why his field goal percentage is so high is he's obviously making a lot of plays in the paint. That's how he got that field goal percentage up. And there's nothing wrong with making plays in the paint. I'm all for that. But translating a whole bunch of point guard plays in the paint, scoring to the NBA is it's a difficult task. The guys in the NBA are much bigger, they're much more athletic, they're much stronger. I mean, Isaiah has a tendency to try and bully people. We've seen that in the NBA, but it's a lot harder to bully people in the NBA than it was at USC, and certainly a lot harder to do than what his days were in high school, where he thrived on bullying people in the paint. And that's how he became the #1 high school recruit in all of high school. So those were his numbers at USC. Now, let's take a look at his first summer league in 2024. And we're only taking a look at the Las Vegas Summer League. We're not going to factor in anything that happened in the Salt Lake Summer League. We're just looking at the Las Vegas numbers. So his first Summer League, before his rookie year, he shot 43.5% from the field, 9.1% from three, and 60% from the free throw line. So obviously those are not good numbers. The 9% from three is alarming, but it is only 4 games in the Las Vegas Summer League. It's a very small sample size, but still, those numbers weren't good. So let's take a look at his rookie season with the Jazz. And he shot 42.2% from the field, 25% from three, and 68% from the free throw line. So again, his rookie season with the Jazz, he struggled mightily. We all saw him struggle shooting the ball. And that carried forward throughout the first year. It wasn't just in the start of the year and then he finished well. He struggled. He struggled throughout that entire first year. So let's take a look at this summer league that just concluded and look to see if there was any improvement over the 4 games in Las Vegas again. So he shot 41.2% from the field, 31.3% from three, and 44% from the free throw line. So again, his shooting numbers are not particularly good in the summer league that just concluded. He struggles as a shooter. We've all seen that. Now, the thing that worries me about Isaiah, I mean, we all know that he's a phenomenal passer. I mean, he's very good. He was good as a rookie. Getting that all-time assist record for the Jazz as a rookie, I mean, that's a good accomplishment. And he's able to make a multitude of passes. Like he can make the pocket pass off the pick and roll. He can get into the paint and pitch it out to the wing players. He's able to do all that, and I've seen him make really difficult passes look easy. So he's very skilled in that area. But the shooting is a huge issue. It's a major issue, and if he doesn't improve that shooting, he's not going to make it long term in the NBA because teams can't play a point guard who shoots 40% and 25% from three like he did last year. I mean, it's just not going to work. So I've seen Isaiah in interviews last season, towards the end of last season, saying, well, the shooting can improve. It's just about reps in the gym. And my contention is that's not the case. It's not just about reps in the gym. There are some fundamental things with the way he sets up to shoot the ball and his release, his mechanics, that need to change. And until he changes those fundamental things, reps in the gym shooting the ball incorrectly are not going to lead to meaningful improvement. I don't think it can lead to meaningful improvement. I don't think that he can be a good shooter shooting the ball the way he does. I don't think he can even be a competent shooter shooting the ball the way he does. And I have not even seen him acknowledge that problem exists, because the only thing I've seen him say is it's about reps. No, it's not just about reps. You need to fix the structural things first, and then it's about reps. It's about reps doing the shooting in the correct way. That's how you improve. Reps doing it the right way. That's how you lead to meaningful improvement. So until he does that, I'm not convinced he's going to be a competent shooter. I have yet to see him even acknowledge it. So that's where I stand with Isaiah. Isaiah, I think, has the ability to become a much better shooter, but he needs to address it in a meaningful way. So that takes us to Walt. Now, Walt, let's look at his numbers at his time in college, the 2 years at Iona and also the 2 years at Florida. Now, his time at Iona playing for Rick Pitino he was kind of a pass-first point guard when he got to Iona, but Rick Pitino saw his ability to score the ball, and he turned Walt into a scoring point guard. And that carried forward throughout his 2 years at Iona and also his 2 years at Florida. At times with that Florida team that won the national championship, Walt really put that team on his back in terms of his scoring, and he carried that forward. Now, Walt, when he gets to the NBA, he's going to have to be more of a distributor than he was in college, and his assist numbers are going to have to improve. And I fully believe that he has that capability to do that. And because his high assist total in terms of average was his senior year at Florida, where he averaged 4.2 assists per game. Now, obviously, he needs to average more assists than that. And I fully believe that he will. Is he going to do that in his rookie year with the Jazz? I don't know if he's going to exceed that number in his rookie year with the Jazz, because I'm not sure how much time he's going to get at the point guard position with the Jazz, at least starting out. How I think this is going to play out with the Jazz next year with the point guard play is I think Isaiah Collier on opening night for the Jazz is going to be the starting point guard. But his shooting struggles, I think that by year's end, I think he's going to be consuming the bulk of the minutes at the point guard position. I think that he's going to be playing more minutes at the point guard position than Isaiah Collier. That's the way I see this playing out. And honestly, I don't see another way this does play out, because as a shooter, even if Isaiah Collier addresses fundamentally the fundamentals of shooting the ball and then starts doing it correctly, improvement is going to take time. And we're not going to see significant improvement, during the NBA season. So by year's end, and shooting is such an important factor right now for most of the players on the court, and especially at the point guard position, that it really hurts the other players when somebody can't shoot at all. And that's what Isaiah currently faces. And so that's where Walt comes in, and Walt's a really good shooter. He's a very competent shooter. I mean, his shooting percentages were good from three-pointers. I mean, his senior year, Walt is taking the majority of his shots are from three, and he's shooting a really high percentage at 39% his senior year. And obviously that 39%, when he was seen as like the key to that team for the most part, you stop him and you stop the Florida Gators. Even though Florida had other players on that team that were good and other players on that team who will be NBA players, he was the key cog there. He was the guy, he was the leader of that team. So he still shot really well from three at Florida. And we've seen his deep range. The NBA three-point line is going to be no problem for Walt. I mean, he'll have no issues with that whatsoever. So that's kind of the way I see it playing out. I believe that Isaiah can still be a really good NBA player, and I think his shooting can improve, but it's going to take time. And because having a point guard that can't shoot the ball hurts the team so much, I think that Walt will eventually get the bulk of those minutes by season's end. I don't see another pathway forward. I don't see another scenario that really makes any sense. I think for the good of the team, I think that's the way it needs to play out. So we'll see. And I would really like to see others' opinions on this in the comments. I mean, I really want to see what other people have to say and what other people's thoughts are on this particular topic, because this is the way I see it, and the way I don't see another scenario really, but I would certainly like to see what others think. So that's really all I have to say at this particular time on this particular topic. But we would ask that those watching on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And you can also follow us on X at Jazz Smack. And we will talk to everybody later.